So, so always need to listen to these prompts. We are now hearing a short presentation by Jason Smith-Samaria, who is a representative of Sue and Herbs, who amazingly have sponsored this conference. So if I can hand over to Jason.
Hello.
Hello, Jason. Thank you.
Hello. Well, first of all, thank you very much for inviting me, and I feel very proud and honored to be representing Giovanni Maciocia, because I have a little bit about myself. I have I'm half American, half Spanish, and I have a Chinese medicine practice in Madrid, Spain, and it's a Chinese medicine school also. And for many years, for about 10 years, I had the opportunity of working side by side with Giovanni Maciocia. And I organized his seminars in Spain. I translated his book, Foundations, in Spanish. So I visited him a couple of times in Santa Barbara. And so I know his formulas pretty well. That was basically like his little baby, his little treasure. So I will just do a quick, short presentation, because I believe most of you are acupuncturists. I basically, in my practice, I use 50% acupuncture and 50% formulas. So let me share my presentation with you. Let's see if I can. See if I can make this bigger. Okay, let's see. Okay, can you see my presentation?
Yes.
Okay.
If you can make it go to
here it is.
Slide. Yeah, great.
Okay, here we go. So as you know, I told you, that was me with Giovanni in Santa Barbara. And Giovanni, I think he was one of the most prolific Chinese medicine authors. I think he had at a time when it was very difficult to know about Chinese medicine and acupuncture, he summarized all of the theories of Chinese medicine into one big book, which was Foundations. And actually, you know, he never intended to publish that book, but it was just his notes from his travels to China. And I asked him, because he spoke Chinese, he read Chinese, and he learned how to read Chinese, because when he was in China, he just realized that the Chinese teacher was speaking for about 5 minutes, and the translation was only 30 seconds. So he went ahead and he learned how to read Chinese. So Giovanni always said we needed to have like 2 different hats. He said we need to have our acupuncture hat and our formula hat, or food supplement hat. Because, you know, acupuncture is great. I practice mainly balanced method acupuncture with great results. Acupuncture is great for pain, for example, for cold conditions, you know, for cold in the uterus, stomach, with moxa, for moving qi, for moving blood. But sometimes some of our patients, for more complicated patterns, the combination of acupuncture and Chinese supplements, I mean, that's an ideal match. In fact, you know, it's just been published, the 3rd edition of the Practice of Chinese Medicine, which is I think it's one of Giovanni's best book, and it's come out beautifully in color. And we have for all the Chinese patterns, we have the treatment with acupuncture and with formulas, and especially also with 3 treasure food supplements. So my idea is basically just to give you like a quick overview on the 3 treasures food supplements, which I think are great, especially when we need to tonify substances such as blood, yin, yang, and for example, when we have pathogenic factors, we need to expel dampness, we need to expel phlegm, we need to get blood moving, blood stasis, and formulas are very, very, very easy to use. You don't need to have like a, basically, you don't need any understanding of how a Chinese formula or food supplement works. You just need basically to have your pattern right, and then you can just apply the formula. So there's 3 lines of food supplements. There's the Woman's Treasures. It's just entirely dedicated to women's problems of fertility problems, period problems, menstrual pain, etc. The 3 treasures formulas, which are variations of classical Chinese formulas. And then there's a specific line for children, which is the Little Treasures. And you know, Chinese medicine is a system of metaphors. We have military metaphors, water metaphors, politics metaphors. For example, military, we have, you know, the Wei Qi, we have the invasions, the liver invades the spleen. So that's a very heavy Chinese medicine metaphor. We have the water metaphor in Chinese medicine, you know, with the 5 shu points, the well points, the stream points. We have to irrigate, to nourish, you know, the extraordinary channels, which are seen as reservoirs of water, of qi and blood. We have the politic metaphor, which we have, for example, the heart is the emperor and the lung is the prime minister, etc. And then we have the a heavy Confucianist influence, you know, with the ruler, the father, the older brother, the husband, the senior friend. And obviously this is also in the formulas. So I don't know if you already know this information, but I think it's a beautiful information to know that Chinese formulas are broken down into several different herbs, and there's an emperor herb, minister, adjutants, and messengers. And the way this works is that once you have your pattern set out, the emperor herb, which has usually the biggest quantity of grams within a formula, will treat the main pattern. And then the minister will treat the secondary pattern. For example, spleen qi deficiency would be the main pattern, and dampness would be the secondary pattern. And the third category is adjutants. They will treat the side effects, because herbs do tend also to have sometimes side effects. So that's why we have adjutant herb to correct the side effects. And finally, messenger herbs in a formula, which will guide the formula to a specific place and will harmonize the entire formula. And as an example, one of the most important formulas in the Chinese medicine canon is Sijun Sitang, which is the 4 gentlemen decoction, which takes care of spleen qi deficiency. And this is a perfect example of Chinese medicine formula, because the emperor would be Ren Shen, and sometimes it's substituted by Dangshen. And why is it substituted sometimes by Dangshen? Basically, it's because it's cheaper to produce. Dangshen is cheaper than Renshen. So that's one of the things about the 3 treasure food supplements, that they're. Oh, hello? Oh, I don't know if someone had a question, or I just heard a noise here. I'll keep on. So I was saying the formulas, they have the original ingredients, the best ingredients. And it's got Baizu as a minister, which would help for spleen qi deficiency, and dampness, which would be the secondary pattern appearing. And Fuling would be the assistant, because what happens is the tonic herbs tend to be sweet. And when there's a sweet herb, it tends to promote the formation of dampness. And so Fuling would be addressing the treatment of dampness. And finally, Ganzao, which is licorice, one of the Giovanni's favorite herbs, would act as a messenger to nourish spleen qi deficiency. And the 3 treasures formulas are variations of classical formulas. So for the main formulas, there's always a variation. In this case, it would be prosperous earth. And the variations, they always do have is a different effect than the original formulas. For instance, this would be stronger qi tonifying action. And dosing is pretty straightforward. It's just anywhere from 4 to 12 tablets a day. And if possible, on an empty stomach, only if possible, so that the absorption and digestion is better. And it's, if possible, chew the tablets before ingesting, and only with water. Don't take them with teas, with soda, with anything. And what I always do is start with just one tablet a day, the first day, just to make sure that the food supplements are not too heavy on people's digestive system. So maybe just to be on the safe side, start with one tablet. And it's possible, if there's several patterns, to combine them. So I would like to share some resources that we have here.
I think we have sort of run out of time, Jason.
Okay, so that's
thank
perfect.
you very much. That was very
you.
informative. And please, all delegates, all conference participants, head over to Suen Herbs. There is now time to grab a tea or a coffee, and then we can go to the exhibitors. You can go to the breakout rooms. A slide has just appeared where you can look how to do this. Okay. I'd like to thank all the presenters this morning. It was wonderful to hear about the diversity of acupuncture. And we are starting our session again proper at 11:05, so come back then. But please do go and visit the exhibitors. I'd like to thank again our sponsors, Suen Herbs, without whom we couldn't run this conference, and the Northern College of Acupuncture, who also sponsors us. Thank you and see you later.